Hello and welcome back to another Synths EDU DIY crazy build here in the shed. Some things have gone slightly differently this evening. One of those is that I'm using another microphone, yet another, because some people have been having trouble with my previous microphone in it being too quiet. So can you please tell me in the shed, just as I'm settling, whether you can hear this okay? I've got a C3000 over there, a nice condenser microphone on the impossible arm that bit me during the live stream the other night. But hopefully this will be sensitive enough to pick up whatever direction I'm currently looking in. So do please let me know in the chat if you can hear me, just so that I'm not talking into the void. So I'm probably best not saying anything else at that point. Sounds good. Okay, well, we'll go with that. Hopefully there's not too much sort of banging around and cracking around and things like that. New mic sounds great. Great. Corey, were you one of the ones who moaned all the time about it last time? In which case I'm very pleased that works. Okay, great. I'm really hot already. I might have to strip off at some point, but hey, let's just see how we go. Maybe when I've opened my door, I'll then get infestated with moths and stuff. Anyway, I digress. So good evening. Here we are I was planning to do the breadboard build. This fella here. I was planning to do this, to build out the output mixer, this fella here, on this breadboard and test it and learn about panning and learn about the output mixing and what's going on with that and the headphone amplifier, that kind of thing. However, I sat down, sorry Corey, I sat down like 20 minutes ago thinking, I know what I'll do, I'll measure my resistors. That's always a good thing to do before we start. And I was just going through the manual looking for the bill of materials, and there isn't one. There's no bill of materials. I then noticed that actually the manual's very different to how it normally is, and going through it, there are no breadboards. So that changes things slightly. So I thought, well, we could go through the manual and try to learn something, but if I'm not actually building it out, I don't think that's any fun for anybody. Okay, the mic is good, yeah? Okay, good, right. So what was I saying? Yeah, so, oh, I don't know. I don't want to just read through a load of technical information. That's not going to be helpful. But I will read you the bit of this to start with, just so you understand what I'm talking about. And then what we'll do, we'll just dive straight into the soldering, which is going to be tricky because, as I say, there's no bill of materials. We're just going to have to see how we go and see if we can identify the bits as we go along. But it doesn't look too strenuous as a build, to be fair. So I imagine we'll do okay. So you're very welcome this evening just to sit and watch and ponder the nature of the universe as I get my way through this. Or you're welcome to contribute in the chat. People like to do that and have their own conversations, and I will do my best to answer questions as they come up. And often I lean on you as a source of knowledge and wisdom when we run into tricky bits, as we inevitably do. But let's try not to waste too much time. Time is always at a premium. So I'll try to find the right button and we'll have a look at the manual together. Is that the right button? No, well, that's nearly. Let's go for the other one. There we go. So you can follow along on the manual over on Synths website. In the shop, you'll find the output module and you'll find the download of the manual right there. So why is this one different is the first question. Some people saying they got streaming issues. Let me have a look. Let me have a look at my end. Oh, heck and all. Sometimes, everybody. Come on. Come on. Let's not do that. Everything just falls apart. 1 second, let me check. Error, not receiving enough. Oh, darn it. Okay, just give me a second. Stand by. Yeah, it's still here. I'm still here. Honestly, I'm still here. Sorry, I'm still here. I'm still here. Absolutely. All right, I'm just going to have to sort of carry on. I've asked everybody else to get off the internet. Not receiving enough alcohol. Yeah. Is it just going to be like that? Is it because I'm disrespecting the Queen by doing something? Is that the reason for our troubles? And the aristocracy have flown in and stolen my bandwidth. That's probably what it. It's probably what it is. Sadly. So it's a still frame. Well, it was for a minute because I just sat back making a text. So I'm just going to dwell for a moment. See if I can wait for things to happen. One second again. Well, this is all very boring. Is that bit there working? That's there. Is that then coming over on here? Yeah, it's a little bit. If I close that one. Stand by. Okay, that looks better over there. Okay, well, if the audio is good, then I'll carry on with that and we'll see where we get to. Apologies for the quality of the stream. I have very little control over that. I've asked for everybody else in the village to stop doing anything. Okay, good. Right, back to the output mixer manual. So stream's better, good. Right, here we go. This is a slightly different user manual because the output mixer was developed in collaboration with Maris Zeltins, a teacher at the Riga Technical University. Besides the output mixer, Maris did a major contribution to the Syntrix and the Syntrix 2 design and several Black Series module designs. So instead of Moritz's hand-drawn breadboard images, we'll split the schematics of the module in parts and take an academic look on each part and how it contributes to the functionality of the entire module. It's essentially a panning mixer. It takes two mono inputs with adjustable gain and pans them left and right to a stereo output and an integrated amplifier booster signal for headphones. So that's what we're trying to do. Better, is it? Good? Thank you. Yeah. I've grounded all my kids. Well, I've disavowed their internet use, which is very sad. They're just going to have to like watch the telly or something. Not that there's anything on at the minute. Anyway, so it suggests looking at the output meter, output mixer schematics, and various bits and pieces. See, my sense of this is that as we go through it, you'll see that this is very academic, and that's, you know, good in some ways and something that you can look at. Ian, no, it's not any of that. Honestly, my streaming is fine. It's purely to do with other people in my family doing massive downloads and stuff. So honestly, thanks for the advice, but it's been fine. I've been doing this at 1080 for a long time now. So anyway, back to this. So this is the schematic. Let's have a look at it briefly and see if we can spot anything from what we know from before. So we've got inputs. Let me use my mouse pointer. Got inputs here, 1 and 2. We've got a bit of a diode thing going down to -12 and +12 with a resistor. That's what is that? I have no idea. But there you've got a variable something or other before going into an op amp with a feedback loop, which is probably a buffer. And then you've got your panning control here, which is going between a bunch of resistors. You know, that makes some kind of sense. There have been none heading my way, Ken, I'm afraid. It is a nice looking machine. That and the the drum machine too. Yeah, lovely stuff. And then from there, it heads over into a whole other thing. See, this is brilliant, isn't it? Line out, headphone out. You're getting your money's worth with this one. Right. So from here, it's going to get tricky. We've got lots of equations. We've got input stages, talking about amplification. We've got all sorts of things going on. Look at that, non-inverting and inverting op amps. A bit of R4 over R3 plus R4. It's fascinating stuff. Amplifiers. Oh, how panning works. Okay. So all of these things I think would have been really interesting had we built them out on the breadboard, but sadly that's going to be denied us. So what I think we're going to do, yes, op amps, is just get on with the soldering. I think that's the only thing I can do, and sadly won't have quite such a learning opportunity. But all the information is there. If you want to sit down and absorb what on earth all of this VVD1 plus VVD2 equals VB1 plus IQ over what's it, then do be my guest. But with the greatest of respect to the person who put this together, it's so different from Moritz's work that it's just completely boggled my mind. So it's not going to be of any help at this point. So we have the layout here. I haven't printed it out this time, so that's going to be helpful. We're going to have to do a little bit of resistor measuring, because I don't have a bill of material, so I don't know how many of each thing we may have. So we're going to have to measure everything and see how we go. Yeah. But basically, it's resistors and it's diodes and all that sort of thing. So just make sure we're good. Got our overhead here. You can see that all right. So what we're going to do, we'll start off by measuring our resistors. And do I have a pen? I had a pen. There's a pen. And that'll be a good start. So we put on to ohms, grab something, So apologies if you are holding out for tomorrow night's soldering extravaganza. It's going to be now, which means I get tomorrow off. Hooray! Which is nice. So this is 99k. Call that 100k, shall we? That's 100k. $100k. $10k. Feel free to stop me if I get something terribly, terribly wrong, which is always very possible. We could, of course, do it on colour bands, but I find that tends to take even longer. That's one. No, it's not. Oh, heck, what is that? Okay. That's a 1k. So 0.47k is going to be 470, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know, Ken. You have to drink it now. You just have to get Larry. 470. If you are watching on the other channels, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, that kind of thing, and wondering who I'm talking to, it's because all the conversation tends to be over on YouTube. 48.3, 49, 48, 47. We'll go with 47. $30k. $10 ohm. Ooh, so I don't know what is that, honestly. So 0.2 mega ohm is 200k. Is that right? 0.2. I think that's 200k. That be right? Someone confirm that for me. 0.2 meg. 0.2 meg. Got some nice brown ones here. I always like the brown ones. 3.6k. Nearly there. Two. 2.1, 2.2, 2.1, 2.2, 2.2. Right, good. $200k, thanks Ian. Right, what am I doing? I need to turn on the old soldering iron. Need my safety specs. Need a bit of air, blowing things away. I hope that's not on the mic. So, this is what we're talking about. Oh, there you go, schematics by Mariceltins. Look at that. So on the PCB you do have, zoom this in a little bit, you do have the values printed on. 100k, 200k, oh there it is. So that's good. So I'm not really going to have to refer to that other sheet. I should be able to do it straight from the PCB with a bit of luck. So the build guide, the soldering guide, is still there in Moritz's style, so he must have added this bit. So he starts with the lower components first, we know that. R5, R6, power protection modules, and some resistors. Good. So the top two at the top here are 10k, no, are just 10, which is what these two are. Bend the legs. R5 and R6 at the top here. Pull them through, give them a little bend underneath. If I can, I try to put them in the same orientation, just because it looks a tiny bit neater. But I mean, let's face it, PCBs are kind of all over the place. Is that okay? Is that good? Yeah, you can see that all right. Okay, alongside those are the big fat diodes. Now we've got two different forms of diodes in these sorts of things. You have these orange ones, which are the 4148s, I think. And those are used generally in the circuit. The fat ones, these ones, are the power protection ones, which go around the power socket at the top here, and it's suggesting that we put these in, which we can do. It's very important to get these the right way around. Now, I always appreciate the fact that some of you know exactly what you're doing, but I'm always aiming this at people who are coming to it for the first time. Like myself, it's like new for me every time. Got to make sure they're in the right orientation. You've got the line on the PCB and you've got the line on the diode. They go together, yeah? So that's the way around it's going to go. Ugh, pull that through. Oh, it's a bit wonky. It'll do, doesn't really matter. And then what they've got, a couple of diodes over here, some other diodes down the bottom, and a couple of more resistors. Because what on these boards, what they tend to do is they mount a lot of the resistors in that orientation vertically, so they stick out of the board, which is completely fine to do that, but it means they're not as flat. You want to start with the lowest components first, so that you can build it up over time, so when you're soldering, when it's turned upside down, things are not falling out. Alright, so it reckons down the bottom there's a couple of big 1 watt 47Rs. So the 47s, whoa, look at the size of those fellas. That must be it. That must be it. Wow, these are enormously wide in terms of where their wires go, where their legs go. Wasn't expecting that. It's like something out of the back of an old telly. Then some diodes. So there's two at the top. So again, you can see on the print there's a line. That line refers to the line on the diode, because diodes only let things go in one direction, so that's very, very important. The one next to it goes the opposite way around. That tends to be a bit of a theme, you'll notice, with diodes. They tend to go opposite each other for various reasons. So creating a bit of a thing. Two more here. Will there be another Decars Dream build again soon? Yeah, I hope so. It's always on my mind. Always. At the moment, I'm so far behind that I'm starting to make lists. So there's two more in the middle here. Same deal. And I don't know where to put the Decars Dream. And so it tends to be that I just decide in a morning, right, I'm going to do something and get it done. Because I know now that I'm quite close, which is both something of awe and also very scary. Because I know that once I've done those voice cards, I'm going to have to try to put the whole thing together, and that just frightens me to death. I mean, I don't mean frightens. I mean it feels difficult, and you know, I want to have a lovely, wonderful experience of the Decars Dream, which is what I've had so far. I don't want to get into the frustration of not actually getting it to work. So, provided that it's not actually finished, then I can't ever fail at it. It's that old classic conundrum. So there's more diodes down here. Just check the orientation. Make sure that line is with that line. Otherwise, it ain't gonna work. So yeah. Oh, I really would like to do some more in the Decars Dream. I mean, I was so pleased today to get that video out on the Moog Mavis, because I started that like a month ago. It was like the last thing I've been working on, and then it just got too hot in the summer, and with holidays and other things, and my workshop was a mess, so trying to get everything back again so I could just work on the Mavis was difficult. So it was with some joy that I was able to finish that off and get that out there, so that now I can get on to the next things. I'm not failing to complete it. No, I'm not. It will always potentially be completed. So you've got another 4 down here. So while it's not complete, it hasn't failed to be completed. It just simply isn't at that state yet. So there's no failure, not implied or anything, because it will always potentially be about to be finished. You know? So there. But yeah, I got lots to do, which is getting in the way of lovely things like the Decars Dream. But it's all good. It's all good. Now I've got Mavis out of the way, I'm kind of feeling a good bit of forward momentum. Although I do have a couple of really big written reviews to do for both Sound on Sound and Gear News, which are going to take up my time quite a bit over the next week, I think. But hopefully they should all also result in videos. So, you know, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, what I found, I mean, interestingly, is it interesting? I don't know. What I found with the Mavis video was that I kind of, it's very easy to lose confidence in doing a video. You know, because making videos, particularly one which had negative comments in it, negative views in it, there's a risk associated with that, and it means you have to kind of get over that perception of risk in your head, that perception of this might not go well, or people might not like it, or I might get shouted at. Sorry, I'll put this somewhere else. It's just in the way. Knock it over. And so that tends to form a bit of a barrier when making a video. Sadly, I mean, I should be over that sort of thing by now, but I'm not. I'm a sensitive soul. Anyway, so back to soldering. I've got a nice hot soldering iron because I've fed up with it all taking too long. And all we do is heat up the pad, heat up the leg, add on some solder, try not to breathe the fumes, and that should be good. Just going to need to direct this a little bit better. So at the moment it's not really blowing anything anyway. Oh, Ian, you poor fool. I've never played a CS80. All I know is that the Deckard's Dream is a beautifully conceived, gorgeous looking and nice sounding synthesizer. I mean, it can't really be a CS80 if it doesn't have the ribbon and the paddles and all the other things that made using it interesting and different. You know, the Deckard's Dream is ultimately just a fabulous sounding synthesizer. I mean, it's got the same oscillators in as the Prophet 5, so it sounds a bit like that. You know, the only thing really that stands out is the filter. The way the filter works is interesting. Maybe the modulation choices, maybe those are interesting. You know, that sort of architecture that separates synthesizers from each other, because it's not your regular standard subtractive fare. You know, it's not a Prophet 5. It's got these other interesting, strange bits of modulation going on, mixing between waveforms, the modulation matrix, the initial level and final level things on the filters. You know, I mean, that Deckard's voice that I've got in my Eurorack is just so beautiful that to have a pad version of that is just very dreamy, which would make you believe or think that I really should be doing that Deckard's Dream. And you'd be right, I really should. Well, I think at one time, had I done it slightly quicker, then, you know, Black Corporation might have kept that going by suggesting that I build a Xerxes, or the Jupiter 8 one. I mean, how cool would that be? But I think because of the length of time I've taken, I'm unlikely to have such an opportunity. Because, I mean, the Deckard's Dream thing itself was just a huge gift from Black Corporation, you know, a massive thing. I think I've repaid it in the number of videos that I've done and the coverage I've given it, even if I haven't finished it yet. You know, I've certainly helped them in terms of its what am I trying to say? Its profile, perhaps, or maybe I'm overblowing my own trumpet. Can you overblow your own trumpet? I don't know what that means. But hey, It's been a fantastic project and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will get to the end because it's not over till it's over. Polychaining's a bit Behringer though, isn't it, Ian? Would you say? Sorry, I'm just being cheeky now. So when soldering, you just apply the soldering iron to the pad and the leg. Give it a second, then add the solder, take the solder off, then take the iron off. And it can be enormously satisfying. Oops. These diode legs tend to take a little bit longer because they're thicker. Okay. Now, that all looks fairly good. Do look out for bridges, which is when you get, like this bit here, you get two bits which are very close to each other. You can potentially put on too much solder and cross them together. That ends up being called a bridge. But there are none as far as I can see, so let's crack on. So snip all the legs off. Not careful, they can go everywhere and tend to end up in your feet. It's just the way of things. I have a natural podiatry attraction. Ooh, particularly when you throw them away like that. What are you doing? and then dispose of them responsibly. Steve, are you saying that you're just sitting there hoping for me to like burn my own eyes out or something? You're here just to capture that one moment when I put the soldering iron through my fingers. Right, did that bit. That's good then. Right, moving on. Next, it's dip sockets. Really? How did I miss one? No, I didn't miss one. So dip sockets. Alright, a little bit of skipping going on. So for this, next I'm putting the dip sockets in and also the capacitors. Now, let's see if I can find those. But, oh no, they're all here. So let's have a look. Again, I don't have a bill of material, so I don't know what I'm supposed to have of what, sadly. I got a bunch of those, and I got a couple of dip sockets. Don't know which is going to be taller. Don't suppose it matters, but let's get these fellas in. So what have I got? 104, 104, 104. We know what 104 is these days, don't we? 104, 104, then a 22 and a 22. So up the top there, 0.1, 0.1s, 0.1s, 0.1. So the 104s, these globby things here, these are all 0.1 microfarad. There and there. .1 0.1. That's a 22. That's a 22. That's a 0.1. So the 22, the other two slightly brownier ones, go down here. And over here. And also these. See, I think those are slightly smaller. Which is why he said put them in first. Like I didn't. So with these little these little dip switches, is that what they call them? Dip sockets, beg your pardon, IC holders. They got a little nick at the front, and this has got a little nick at the front of that. These need to line up. It's very important that you keep that orientation right. It's not that the socket needs to be in the right orientation, it's just the orientation is carried back to the IC when you put it in. So a bit of luck, I should be able to turn this all over and solder them in. Let's see if they're just going to fall out. What I can do, I could just bend the leg of the IC socket a little bit to keep that in there. Look at that, got away with it. Got away with it, they're still poking through. Just about. So So what I'll do is I heat up one of those legs, just pushing down on it. Same on another one. They're a little bit sticky outy, but that's okay. That's okay. Now we can just solder the rest of it. Sometimes it just doesn't want to do it. Come on. Right, nearly there, nearly there. That looks like the lot. snip the legs off. Okay, other than having slightly wonky dip sockets, that looks all right. Okay, good. What's next? Okay, now it's the vertically placed resistors, like so, and this is the whole lot. Then we've got some transistors to go in. Okay, so this is all coming along sort of sweetly, really, at the moment. So the rest of the resistors, right, come on then, let's go. Let's stick the 100s and the 10Ks in, and these, let's do it half and half so it doesn't get too busy down there. So let's see if I can find some 10Ks. This is where it might get a little bit tricky. So 100Ks, seen a couple of those. So all you're doing is bending them over like this, and then on the board they've got like a circle, like this R10 here. It's got a circle that goes connected to the next one, so the circle is where you put the resistor, so it stands up like so. That easy. If we can find another 100K. That's not that, is it? That's this. There's an unsoldered one. Unsoldered what? Oh, what a leg. Don't know what you're talking about, mate. Next to that one that wouldn't seem to do it. Wouldn't do it. That's really funny. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, thanks for that, Ian. What are we doing? Hundreds. 100Ks. That's a 200. 209 is 100. There's 100. What one is it? I think these two here. That one. And that one. 100 and 100 there. Have I got 2 left? Yes, I do. Good, good. That's 100, I think. And 17. Cool. Let's try these 10s. R15 10K. Is a 10K. I suppose in many ways this is going to be kind of like a mirrored board, because you've got this left and right 2 channels and panning going on, so you're probably going to find things on opposite sides of the board which are the same. At least that's a reasonable reasonable thing to say. $1K, a 10K, there's a 10K, there we go. Right, I think I'm going to solder these as they are. So we're putting our 100Ks. There, 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 there. And our 10Ks, there, 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 and there. Let's give them a go. Pan 1, it says. So many legs. I think that's it. Good. Mr. the audio engineer, if you've come here looking for speed soldering, this is not the place. We just do it as it comes, you know. Do it as it comes. Right, what's next? 22s. Haven't found any 22s yet. Three 3.6, 1K, 470, 470. Alright, let's leave the 22s for the minute and see if we can find where everything else goes. This is 0.2 meg, which will be the 200K. There's two of those in there. Because I didn't have a bill of materials, I kind of had to go on my measurements. So it might not be exactly bang on. Or it might be labelled differently. In any case, if I get the ones in that I can see, then what is left, by definition, will be the right ones. What have I got here? 3.6. I've seen some of those around. There's a 30K. It's a 30K. There. So this is like back with the first build, the first module we did, because Morris didn't originally put in a bill of materials. So I found that he sort of floundered about the place. You're never really quite sure if you had all the right stuff and whether it was all going in the right place. And a bill of materials just gives you that extra little bit of confidence, which is what you need, I find, when building stuff. You just need the confidence to know that you are essentially doing it relatively right. Now this is 470. There's a 470. There's two down the bottom. Okay. $470. put those in. So yeah, I am sorry if you did come along this evening hoping to learn about panning and headphone amplifiers and how all that works. I was too, a bit disappointed really. All the information is there, absolutely, in the build manual for the output module. It's just that it's rather academic rather than practical. So there's not a whole lot I can be showing you, or learning by doing. So the information is there. Go and help yourself, have a read, see what you think. And so this has become all about soldering this module, which is, soldering is interesting, but we're not learning anything. We're just kind of doing the numbers, and that's a shame. That's kind of the opposite of what this whole thing was about. The whole point of the of this series of modules is that we would learn how the circuit works, and it's been good over the last 8 or 9 months. It has been a really good learning experience, and I've appreciated Moritz's work greatly in trying to open up how these things function in an understandable, bite-sized way. That's been really good. So I'm sorry that we don't have that for this particular module, but we'll build it, and hopefully in the next hour we'll be able to test it out, see how that works, and then we'll be all ready for the last module, which I believe is a wave folder. And then we would have completed our task. Soldering is an art. Yeah, it is for some people. For me, it's kind of more of a bodge. Don't know that artistry comes into it. Certainly relaxing, mindful. I wouldn't call it artistic, but there is an art to it, if that's what you mean, which I can't claim to have accomplished. I'm just giving it a go. This occurred to me the other day about what it is that's useful about what I do in videos. I mean, is it a revelation? I'm not sure about that. But I think what I am is achievable. That's the word that came to me. I make things look achievable because I'm just like some idiot giving it a go, and I seem to be able to do most stuff, more or less. I get my way through these things, which kind of means that anybody could. I think that's what I offer. I offer a sense that if he could do it, then anyone can. I'm achievable. Yeah. That's what I am. Right, what am I down to now? I've still got those two. I've got these 1Ks and I've got these 3.6s. Was there 3.6 on here? Yeah, I did the 30s. 3.6, yeah. Yeah. Okay, 3.6s then. What am I doing? 3.6. There's a 3.6. 3.6, I think. Yeah, that's a test point. That's 3.6. Hi, Tonal. And there, let's do these 1Ks. Lots of test points, lots of ground points. See, these other labels I've got 2R0. I mean, I measured those as 22. Is that what that means, though? I think it probably is. I mean, they're going to be the only ones that I've got left. So it's going to have to be, I think, going to have to make that assumption. 2R0, that must be what they are. There's another one. Yeah, we are nearly finished on the EDU modules. Should have one more to go after this. This one came a bit quick. I mean, I wonder how much I could sell it for. Someone could work out how many hours I've put into building this 9-module system. Someone give me an hourly rate and then work out how much I should charge for my finished system. That would be interesting. So that's a 2R. What's R30? 29, they're all 2Rs. I am not finding any more 1Ks. No, that's that one. What have I got left? 2. It's possible I've got too many. Again, bit of materials would be very useful. Ah, there's one. Must be one on the no, it's not one on the opposite side. Alright, down to 1 left. By itself. I like that one. No, I've got R33 labelled as DNM. What's that supposed to mean? Alright, can't find that one. So that's a 1K. And we have a mystery one down the bottom here. Maybe I'll have a look up at the other diagram in a minute. But for the moment, let's put in these. What I measured, I think, as 22. It's saying our 2R0. Let me measure it again. Just to have a look. Or someone could tell me it's red, black, black. I don't even know what that is. Sort of gold. What is that? Can you see that? Silver, maybe? I mean, it's 2.2. Well, it says 2R0. I don't know. £3 an hour. Thanks for that. What we're doing? I don't know. I'm just going to put the. I don't know. Don't know what the answer is. I'm just going to put them in the place that's left. So I've got R30 here, which is 2R0. Put the one in there. I don't quite feel the ownership so much of this one because I haven't, I haven't struggled with it to build it out on a breadboard. I haven't farted around with op amps to understand what it is it's doing. But hey, it's alright. There's one there. One more. Which is this one here. Okay, that's a test point. That's a weird one, so it's going to have something to do with that. Test point, ground. So let's just go back to the schematic here. It still just says so. I might let you see this. If you can see this on here, it says DNM star. I don't know what that means. I mean, I've got a 1K. I put this the same orientation. I've got a 1K there. There's another dim over there, which I've got. I've got a 1K in. There's a 2 on this side that I've missed. I've got a 1K there. This one here, R34, DNM. Plus or minus 10%. Oh, you're talking about my pay. See, I don't know whether I should put that one in. What does DNM mean? Then there's a 1K there. And there's no other 1Ks in this bit. That's all been done. 1K there and a 1K there. Digital multimeter? No. Don't mount. Right. Let's see if I can find out anything. If I go further down here. Vertically placed resistors. Once you're done, it should look like this. Okay, let's see whether they have filled that in. I can't see it for looking. So the DNM was that bottom one. See here, there says 1K R33, not DNM. Denotes a legend somewhere on the diagram. So on here they've got a 1K. Over here 34 they've also got a 1K. Alright, let's go back up into the text. I mean, there's no footnote. Oh, R36, hang on, so what numbers are these? R34, 33. I mean, it's possible they'll talk about it. For output protection, no. R35, to adapt the loudness. No, it's R34 and 33. Sorry, this is ridiculous. How do I do I want to do Control F, but I don't have a keyboard attached. How am I going to do that? I just want to do a find. Oh, sod it. Someone else said scroll to the bottom. Let's scroll to the bottom. They got a quote from Johnny Depp. Oh, gee, flipping whiz. Really? Good Lord. So that's really inspirational, that is. Thanks for that. Congratulations. I don't think we're going to get to the bottom of this. Nah. Do not mount, or does not matter. You don't need to put anything in DNM. Could be options for output level. Schematic on page 3. DNM is R34. I know. R34. Look. Keep it together, people. So R33 and R34. These two here. Let me take that one out. R34, R33. here and here. Yeah, 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 yeah. They are DNM. It says so on the schematic. Do not marry. Terminal for test purposes. There's plenty of terminals for test purposes. The thing that's got me concerned is simply that in Moritz's one that I'm following, they are populated. He has a slightly earlier version of the board, undoubtedly. I got, well, mine is version 1.0, for heaven's sake. What's this going to be? 0.9? His is 1.0. So we've had a revision that no one's taken notice of. I mean, if we go to the schematic, is that actually going to tell us anything? Now, why haven't you done this already? So we're going to assume it's over here and something to do with amplification. There's R35, 36, 31, 33. Dunum. Well, maybe it says on here. So there's 34 and there's 33. But aren't these going to be important? Anything else on here that could tell us anything? Do not mound. Dad needs mum. Donnie needs McDonald's. Oh my goodness me. Well, hey, let's leave them out, and then if something doesn't work, because it's purely on the output thing, so if we don't get an output, then we know we've done something wrong, or it's too quiet or too loud or something. We're just going to leave those two out. I'm sorry this has wasted such an enormous amount of time, because it's not annotated. It's not... It's just so frustrating when there's something in a DIY build that's educational that doesn't tell us what it is. What are you supposed to do with that? Contradictory information. It's just... Ugh. Drives me nuts. Anyway. Power socket? No, we haven't got there yet. Come on, we need to get this moving. Right, let's do some soldering. And then, what am I looking at the moment? Oh, I can't see it. We're looking at the manual. What legend? What are you talking about? Well, let's do the rest, see what happens, shall we? Otherwise we'll be here all night. And I've got a bunch of kids in my house all sobbing through their lack of internet access. Hey Joe. I really appreciate that, mate. Steve says they literally mean do not mount on the board for possible future revisions. Bottom of page 12, both cases you might need to change R35 to adapt to the loudness of the headphones. Well, R35 is this enormous, chunky, great big one here. So that doesn't seem very likely to me. But hey, we've got a little bit of way to go yet. Right, blah 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 blah. Next, solder electrolytic capacitors. Right, how many of those we got? Just the two? That's easy then. Long leg positive. We know that already. Negative on the other one. So these are these two big circular things here. Got the line on the side of it is the negative. The square one is the positive. On this occasion, it's not always the case. So always check. Long leg positive, short leg negative. And then you've got these two strange ones. These are not polarized, just go in as they are. Ouch, ouch, they're a little bit thick. Power socket. Oh, hang on, there's some more bits to come yet. Probably put this in at the same time. Now this, there's a little corner taken out, and that refers to the side that's, oh, put it over here, sorry. Got a little corner taken out, and that refers to the side with the gap. See, that's too small, that's going to fall out when I try to put that in, isn't it? Oh. so that's no good. Alright, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to solder these bits in first. Then I'm going to use a bit of magic foam to sort out the other bit. These little bits here. Okay, smashing. Power socket. There's that way around. And there was something, oh, I'm going to use this piece of foam here. Put that underneath like that. So that will push it up. I'm going to push down on it to see if I can get it flat. Put some solder on it, let it cool. Check that it's not a disaster. That's not a disaster. Super duper. Do the rest. There must be a formula somewhere that conflates the melting point with the amount of pressure that you apply to it, and the fact that solder just very slowly bends. You're always applying just a little bit too much pressure, so it ends up going in a bit of a curl. Lovely. Coming on, in it. Ow, that's still a bit warm. So power supply socket did that. Now we're going to do the and then we've got to have a look at it, and then we do the jack sockets. What happened to the transistors? Did I miss that bit out? I think I did. I missed that bit out. I did, yeah, completely. Alright, look, there's all these things to do. Oh dear. So we have 4 transistors, these big things. I've never seen them look so big. Previously we had all these little weeny ones, but no, they've got some serious stuff going on here. So there's 2 139s. That's a 139. That's the other one. So there's those 2 and those 2. Have an amplifier does not push transistors to extremes, so we do not use heat sinks. Okay. Make sure you place the transistor in the designated spots. Orientation is critically important here. Right. So I'm assuming they're the same. So this is the 140. This is the 140. So this way round, you've got 1, 2 and 3 emitter collector base. Emitter collector base. That's on the silk screen. That information is there. Emitter collector base 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that one's good. That's a BD 140. The other one is on this side. Like so. Now it only shows the 140 on there, and we've also got these 139s, but I think we can assume that they are similar. Not only that, but Moritz has put the wrong one in the wrong socket on this photo here. Commonly used. They have a hole in the middle to fix them to heat sinks because they tend to overheat. Doesn't need it. Well, I'm going to just assume it goes in the same orientation. I have got no information to tell me otherwise. In fact, they all face the same way. I guess that can work. Even though things do tend to be mirrored. I don't bloody know. But you do seem to have a resistor on the same two legs on every one. It's the mystery that keeps us alive. That's what it is. Right, alright. Stop pondering. You're not going to get anywhere pondering. Just going to have to get on with it. Oh dear. Come on, heat up. Thank you. Come on. Come on! Melt! Come on! Just melt! Just one more to do and you won't melt. What's the matter with you? I'll just throw enough on. Is it going to find its way? I think it did. Gee whiz. Ken, you are an arbiter of doom. Right, put all those in. Enormous transistors. Right, where do we get to? Jack sockets. We've got some green ones and some blue, some of these ones. Two lower ones are stereo, of course. I'm going to have to find a stereo cable from somewhere. So get this in the right orientation. These ones go at the bottom, line out on headphones. Just stick its little sticky outy bit in the one that's outside the box, and it should more or less hold them in. The ones at the top. It says solder them. Okay. Can I turn this over without them falling out? Yes, I can. They are going to stay nice and flat, so I think I can get away with that. Solder them in. Trying to find a leg somewhere. That more or less almost entirely completely failed. Somebody said soldering was an art form. Sometimes. Yeah, there were two types of transistor. They were marked on the board differently. Moritz's photograph was wrong, and they only told us what the legs were on one of them. I think from the perspective of you know, marks out of 10 for this particular educational build, it's sort of knocking around the 4 at the moment. Various unknown factors, bits of mystery, 2 leftover resistors, unclear orientation on transistors. Good. Pots don't solder. Are they all the same? B100s, no. B10s, B100s. That's got NAF all written on it. This one. Alright, so I've got B104 and B103. Can anybody tell me which is which? I mean, maybe that refers to noughts. Well, I don't want to get it wrong, do I? So let's go for a new thing. Pot B104. $100K. The 104s are 100K. That's this one here then. So just to check, $103 is a 10K. Yeah, just going to use for panning. 03 or a 10K. Yeah. Alright. Fit the front panel to make sure it sits correctly. We're nearly there, everybody. So put the front panel on before I solder the pots. It's just going to keep them in line when I solder them. Now the trick here is not melting anything, which is very easy to do. Come on. So try to get this angled in here. Dear oh Lord. Come on, then you gotta hold it together. A little while longer. Oh look, burnt the top off that capacitor. That's always good. That's always nice. Okay, got some on that one. These are hard to get to, these sticky outy legs. Without burning the big white towers. Right, one more. Yeah, a little bit of a burn on the side of that one. Oh dear. I hope I haven't ruined its capacitance. Let's hope not, hey. Let's hope that that's some kind of magic coating over whatever it is that does the actual storage of charge. Okay, put these other bits on. Job's a good one. Now, oh, the ICs. What about the ICs? So, got one there. Oh, and one here. Now I've got a magic tool. Which helps me straighten these legs out. So they go in nicely. If you want one of these for yourself, you'll probably just have to Google a weird leg straighty outy thingy. So, are these the same? That's a 72CP. 72CP. Okay, they're both the same, so it doesn't matter. You can see that the nick that carried on from the PCB, that refers to the little dot on our chip. So I need to go that way around, I think. Like that. Good, good. Congratulations. You have completed it. Quite possibly. So put it in, switch it on. If there's no magic smoke, it's a good sign that it was successful. Connect a saw to in and a pulse to in 2. Plug in the headphones, increase level, monitor sound, and pan it about. Wow. It's 20 to 10. Let's give it a go. What I find tricky, Steve, is changing tip halfway through soldering. I never quite worked that bit out. I mean, I have other tips. I remember, weirdly, my wife bought me a soldering iron tip for my birthday because it was on my wish list on Amazon. Because I was just going through trying to find something. I don't know, anyway, it ended up on my wish list. So I got one for my birthday, which is really nice. But I have no idea how I put it on my soldering iron, or when you do that, or why you would decide to do that. Anyway, What are we doing? Oh, yeah, we're going to plug it in and see if it works. Right, good, yeah, right. Where did I put it? I put it somewhere. Oh, I put it over here. Right. So I've left out a power cable expressly for this situation. No, they go this way up. Oh. Right, so let's pull this back up a bit so you can see what's going on. Ooh, ooh. Something like that. You can see my belly, that's always nice. Let me try harder. Try harder. It's all going to go crashing around now, isn't it? You just know that it is. Okay, that's on there. This is, come on, find your bendiness. There we go. There we go. That's a bit better, I think. So, in the hope, you know when I did the Moog Mavis, I plugged the power cable in the wrong way round. I literally did. When I put it into the URAT case, I put the cable in backwards. I put it where there wasn't a thing. I tried to get it in. I pushed it in and it seemed to go in. I turned it on and it started making this strange fizzing noise. So I turned it off very quickly. And I'd put it in the wrong way around. I couldn't quite believe it. See how that fits there? Oh, nice. Nice. Before I screw it in. Oh, have you also noticed I've moved on from the knurlies, which would give me some trouble, and I've put in some other black screws, of which I no longer have any, I don't think. I'm going to have to find some from somewhere. Anyway, let's turn it on, see what happens. No smoke. Don't think I'm suddenly imagining a capacitor exploding into my face. Well, I've still got my safety specs on. Alright, so far so good. So if I can find, I had a little pack of the screws. Oh, these are silver, that just ruins everything. Hang on, see what have we got in here? Got like a fuse, random screws. That might work. I've got two there that might work. They're a little small. No, they're too small. Random pot of crap. I don't even know what that's doing there. Why don't we use these silver screws then for the moment? I'll replace them at another point. These are big. Come on, hold it together now. There's something seriously wrong with that one. Well, this just wasn't meant to be. Something is not right. I'm not happy. Hum-de-ha. Right. Okay. Let's try an early then. Something about this end of the board which is not working. Alright, that's tapping its way in now. Okay. Yeah, the Nerlies are giving me a lot of trouble, so I thought I'd swap them out for something else. So, because I think essentially the holes drilled into this case are a little bit smaller than 3. They're probably 2.5, and all my Nerlies I think are 3. So that's why I've been having problems, and that's probably the same with these screws here. So, heck, I don't know. Anyway, we need some sound. So hang on a tick. I'm going to have to turn something on over here. Right. So, oh heck, stereo. Right. How am I going to do? What am I going to do with that? Let me think. I've got something here. Here we go. So this is a stereo output. Let's put it in line to start with. I need to get this to my output. Which is seriously tied up over here. Snagged. Right, come on. Okay. I don't know which is left and which is right. I don't even know if I've got it going in stereo into the computer. I'll check that in a minute. It's the gap 4 HP over here. I think so. Yeah, I know it really shouldn't take any force to get them in, but it has done immense force every time. That's why I'm no longer using the Nerlies. Right, anyway, so this, as you can hear, is in stereo, yeah? So, VCO, sawtooth output, input 1, let's bring everything down. I'm not hearing any of that. Input 2. Pulse. Not hearing any of that. Great. Because it's not on. It's not on. There's no lights. That'll be the reason. Let's try it with the lights on. God, gee whiz. Gee flipping whiz. Right. Okay, here we go. I don't have any right screws. Where do these screws come from? They come with the kits. Problem is with the Erica thing, you get no screws in the box, and you get no screws with the case. So I have lots and lots of knurlies that I use. And I don't understand why it can't be the same, and I don't understand enough to want to just flipping force it. Anyway, so we've got that going on. That sounds like it's panning to me. Can't quite see that, can you? Let me go. Pull this over here a little bit. I've got an input level. I've got pan. On the other side, got the same sort of sound-ish. Panning. So I could have different things out of different sides. Okay, if it's panning backwards, Ken, it's only because I've literally just got a cable that I've plugged it into that I don't know which is left and which is right. So I could swap them round if that makes you happier. Let's try the headphone output. Super. There we go. Lovely. So, where are we? Back over here again. So there we are. There we have it. The output mixer. Turn my solder iron off before I forget about it. Well, that seemed to work out all right. And these here two resistors could be damned. For all I care. Whatever that was about, who knows? But we have two outputs working in stereo. The panning's going both left and right and left, which is great. Seems to be plenty of volume. I mean, I do not have a sophisticated system at this end. It's literally plugged into a cable, which is then plugged into my audio fuse into the computer, which is set to be roughly about right for whatever it is that comes out of my modular. Out of my modular's mixer. So roughly line level, I suspect. And so coming out of the headphones, I've just turned it up a little bit. Coming out of the line out, turned it up a bit more. That seems to be about right. That works for me. Works for me. So there we go. And we did it before 10, which is great. I think that's sorted. Now, obviously, again, I'm really sorry that we weren't able to breadboard it, that we weren't able to learn about the panning and reason it out on a board. But all the information is there within the manual if you want to delve into the science and the electronics behind it all. Hi, Arthur. It's all there. So go and give that a go. I just didn't think it was appropriate really for a live stream. It would have been very, very dry reading, I think. But on the plus side, we're able to solder it together. We've saved ourselves a night tomorrow, so you can all go and queue up and see the Queen tomorrow if you like, rather than watching me do the soldering. So there you go. You wondered when you were going to fit that in. Well, I've just found a place for you. In fact, and while you're standing in the queue, you can watch the rerun of this. See, that will pass the time. Be no time at all. So there we go. I think I've sorted out the rest of the week for you. So that's good. So that leaves us with, I think, a wave folder, which should go in here. And then the system is complete. And then it should probably go out on a tour. We could post it on to each other so it travels around the globe so that everyone can have a go. Have to get some more uniform screws, maybe. I don't know. So there we have it. So great. So the next one should be along in a month, and then we are done. And maybe then I should get on with a Descartes Dream or something. So that's that. Coming up next is either going to be the Bastille Pizza, or it's going to be the Roll and Compact IRA little boxes things. Those are two things I have to do reviews of now and next. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing. I should think that'll be coming. Where are we? We're on Wednesday. Who knows? I'll get stuck into those as soon as I can. But lots of videos to come this month, hopefully. I'm just trying to crack on in with it all. So that has been this. This has been the soldering. This has been Erica Synths educational DIY. Not so educational, this stuff. Unfortunately, on this one. But hopefully we'll learn all about wave folding next time. So thanks very much for your company. I hope that's been useful to some degree, and I will see you next time. Go and make some tunes or something. Thanks, Arthur. I'd love to stay and chat, but it's late and I want to go to bed now and have some pudding. Maybe watch House of Dragon or something. Don't know about you. Or maybe I just want to check to see if the Queen's moved. I think that's quite important. So I should watch a bit more of that. So hey, thanks. Take it easy. I'll find the out music. Wait for it. There we go. See you later.